Inflation not gonna touch it.
Yes.
Grocery prices not gonna touch it.
Talk about it.
You know what I mean?
Real.
These gas prices can't
Seriously.
touch that.
Yep. It can't be taken away from you.
Ah, true
It
riches.
can't be. Yes.
Yo!
We always do this.
Wait. True riches can never be taken away from you.
Like ever. Hi guys, welcome back to Kingdom Culture TV. I know we've been gone for like quite a long time, but it's for very good reasons, as you guys know. We are married now.
Yes, we have
expecting
a little boom boom on the way.
Little baby on the way. But we are so excited to finally be back and get to connect again. Some of you guys may know, some of you guys may not. I used to be in World Vision when I was a little girl, when I was 8 years old, when I lived back in Colombia. World Vision ended up reaching out to me. We ended up in partnership, and then I was given the privilege to travel to Peru. And just to give a little background story, I think I should really mention this. I have been trying to go on a mission trip
for years. Yeah.
And I'm talking like, I have like basically gone through almost all the process. Half the money has been put down. Somehow it gets canceled. So then the last mission trip I tried to go to was not really a mission trip, but it was more like a teaching program where I was actually going to go to Peru for 6 months to teach there.
Yes, Peru.
Yeah, it was Peru. And it didn't work out, and I remember feeling so discouraged and just like, I can't believe it. Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I get this opportunity to go to the very country that I was supposed to go to. Anyways, it was just only God, the fact that I got to go. Everything was like provided for basically.
With the same organization.
With the same organization that helped me so many years ago, and with my husband, like, and with a baby in my belly, like he got to come with us.
She's mission tripping already too. Today, what we want to do is take you, not only tell you a little bit about the trip, but take you through one of the biggest lessons that we learned on the trip. And I think at the trip, the biggest thing we took away was that a lot of people who have very little give the most and are truly rich inside and are truly happy. I remember we met a girl, I forgot her name right now, but we were at that trip. Actually, we were there to visit different families in different communities, and so Milena would go basically from family to family, not only sharing her story but hearing about their story. And there was a young girl who wanted to get into cosmetology.
Ashley. I'll never forget their names.
Yeah, so we visited Ashley, and they were talking, and then Milena asked her, like, what is one thing that, you would aspire to do when you, get older, or whatever the question was. And she said, I really want to travel one day on an airplane. And we're just like, whoa, over here, all you have to do is buy a ticket. You can't even leave certain countries without a visa, guys.
Yeah, it's not as accessible. Like, we have so much access to things here. And we don't even take in, like, in third world countries or just any country that's a little more poor than Canada, is like, they don't have access to things. And what people really want is not things, but opportunity. They want access to things. And that was one thing that was very big that we learned there, is like, these people are rich in like spirit, they're rich in character, in terms of like, they're willing to give from their nothing. And I mentioned, earlier in an Instagram post about how me going into this trip, I thought I'm there to give out of like, the abundance that I have. Kind of like in the story, like where these rich people gave out of their abundance, but the lady gave out of her little, right? Yeah. And I'm there like, I'm gonna bless these people. Like, it's such it makes me like upset to even say it. Like, I'm thinking, I have so much because I live in Canada now. I'm about to give so much to you guys. But it's like, nah. I had it wrong. I really had it wrong. They had so much to give to me, and I had so much to learn and to like humble myself again. Like, I know what it's like to be in those shoes. Yeah. So I know what it's like to have so little, and I know what it's like to have so much. And it was just so inspiring for her to serve me, and for me to just sit back and just like take in, like, wow, God, you have given these people like amazing hearts, amazing like community. I think community is also one thing we should definitely talk about. Like, being rich, I believe, is being in community.
What do you mean? Like, being rich is being in community? Like, because I live in a community. I guess also too, it's like, I live in a community, I can have a community center up the road, but do I know I personally know my neighbors.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know them. I know them by first name, but I don't feel that sense of community that you're talking
It's
about.
so
So what do you
different here.
mean?
I think when you have, and I know this because I've lived in Colombia before, and I know what it's like to have so little. When you have so little of things and stuff, you somehow like end up having so much of love and community and people. And that's really what you hold on to. You don't have things to hold on to, because reality, we didn't have things to hold on to, but we had community and people and love and support. And so when you have that, there's like, you don't lack, almost like you don't lack things, even though yes, technically you're lacking things. Yes, we are lacking our needs and we are lacking some things, but it somehow makes up for it in a way where you're just like, yeah, okay, I may not have something to eat, but I have love that feeds my heart. I may not have, you know, the most of this, but I have like joy and community. And when you surround yourself with great people and people who are prayer warriors, people who are people of God, people who like think like you and are in like, I guess, heading towards the same direction, there's like this sense of like fulfillment. Does that make sense?
Well, let's talk about something real, because something that I'm just like, my mind is going like this, because like if you think about it, let's say you're in a community and everyone is impoverished, because a lot of the places that we visited, everyone was kind of in the same boat. And the sense of community is when you can like empathize with someone else's struggle. So like your neighbor knows what you're going through because they're going through it.
Yeah,
right?
you go through it together.
You're going through it together because it's a community thing. Whether you guys are on a first name basis or not, you know, down the street, they may not have eaten today, just like how I may not have eaten today. And so when you're in a position to give and to share, you do that much freely because you know what it feels like. Over here, you may take a trip to downtown in grade 3 on a school bus, see someone sleeping on the street and feel something in your heart, but you have no idea what that feels like because you're so far removed. So you get to see it, but you never get to feel what that feels like, because our communities were totally different world. And so that's why over here, I feel like if we're talking about, let's say we're talking about what rich truly means, we have to look at it from both lenses, because over here, I feel like it's harder to know and experience that when you're so far removed. Like if I didn't grow up in a poorer neighborhood, then how would I know what it feels like to be disenfranchised? I wouldn't. And so what? How do you, you know? But anyways, that's where my mind went.
No, but you're 100% right, because like when you haven't experienced something and you don't know what it's like, how do you put yourself in those people's shoes? Like, you know, we always get told like, put yourself in you know, someone else's shoes. How do you put yourself in someone else's shoes if it's when you actually have there's nothing to connect you, if that makes sense, because you haven't experienced anything even remotely close to it.
Jeez, that's so true.
And so like until you've experienced I guess we're talking about poverty, so I guess until you've experienced poverty, then it's hard to fully understand what richness is.
If you don't recognize your privilege, you don't recognize what you do have, then you're extremely part of the problem. Whether you take the time to experience what someone else's experiences is your choice, your life choice. It's so much to be learned and so much richness to be gained in having less or experiencing a life where you can put yourself in someone else's shoes that has less. But if you have a lot, you don't recognize your privilege, you're missing out in life. Because how are you able to really truly like be of effect to someone else?
Giving is time, giving is love, giving is attention, giving is like sitting with someone, having a conversation with them, sharing with them like part of your story. Like that's also what giving looks like. So for anybody who, I don't know, maybe mission trip is not your thing, or you don't want to feel uncomfortable or whatever, that can also be a form of giving. So don't think you're like, oh well, I must not be giving because I haven't gone on a mission trip. That's definitely one thing I think God had to teach me. Like I mentioned the story earlier, I tried to go on mission trips. I'm like, God, like I don't get you at this point. Like, you know my heart, whatever. Like I don't get why you're not sending me on a mission trip. But he had to really work on my heart and really work to humble me. And he basically had to tell me like, Milena, why do you think that you have to get on a plane, travel across the world or down to South America or wherever in order to serve. Like, why is that your idea of mission? And then I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, God, I get it. Like, you're screaming at me, basically. But no, 100% God was right. Like, to check my heart, basically. I had to check my heart and be like, I can serve and I can give right where I am, right around me, right downtown, right like across the street. There can be someone that needs help. Service is all around us. So I think that's one thing that God had to teach me before he had to check my heart before he could really send me out there, because then I wouldn't have gone with the right heart.
What do you think a rich heart is?
Yeah, a rich heart in my eyes and from my understanding and my experience is a selfless heart. We look at the story of Jesus and like his time here on earth, it was so selfless. There was no like, what are these people gonna do for me? It was like, what can I do for you?
You have to check your heart, like you said.
Yeah.
It's checking your heart. What is your motive behind what you're doing?
Yeah.
If I go on a mission trip and the motive behind it is so that I can feel good about myself. Yeah.
I did something great. Look at me. I went on a mission trip. Here's a picture with a child. Like,
hey, you know, like, doing Jesus work, because at the end of the day, a lot of people will watch this, and I was honestly a person who would be like, okay, so Jesus did it, and what? Why do I care? And so, to be honest, your heart matters most.
Yes, 100%. And God always looks at the heart.
The interactions and the moments that you share with people truly store a treasure in your heart that you'll never ever forget. And I think that's like true riches. It can never. Inflation not gonna touch it.
Yes.
Grocery prices not gonna go touch it.
Talk about it.
You know what I mean? These gas prices can't touch that.
Yep.
Feel me? So.
Yep. It can't be taken away from you.
True
it
riches.
Can't be. Yes.
Yo! Wait. True riches can never be taken away from you.
Like ever.
Wait. So true riches not only can't be taken away, but true riches always multiply. Because like think about it.
Yeah. 100%.
She deposited something into your heart.
Yeah. And it's forever flowing, if that makes sense. It's forever giving to flowing somebody else, and that somebody else flows somebody, like, fills somebody else.
Yes,
so and so on and so on and so on.
Like that's a true rich. Like it just never ending.
It's like a river.
It is a river.
It's never like a lake, and this is actually what we spoke about yesterday in the Bible study.
Wow.
Don't ever be a lake. A lake doesn't flow. A lake is stagnant. But be a river. A river's forever flowing. A river is like, and a river also has little other segues like that feeds to other bodies of water. Wow. The idea is to be like a river, always feeding like more and more and more in others and other bodies of water, being like, you know, our sisters, our brothers.
I don't know if you've seen it before on this platform, but we encourage you to hit subscribe right now to just be plugged into what we're doing here at Kingdom Culture. Like we say, we're shifting culture by advancing kingdom culture. Yes. And there's Christian culture, there's the world culture, there's all these other things, but Jesus came and died so that we could live kingdom. And that's what we strive to do. We're far from perfect, but we're saved by grace. And there's a lot of things in our marriage and our personal walks with God that we want to share and be vulnerable. That's what this channel is about. So that's what you're feeling. If you're a new believer, if you're an old believer, if you're not a believer, especially hit that subscribe button. Because Jesus has a plan and a purpose for your life, bro. This video was really just a kind of thought probe on what riches truly meant and share our experiences in Peru. But also what we're learning in this video is that, you know, apart from God, really, apart from the one true God, it's hard to truly find riches. You may find it temporarily. You may find it in things that you put and store your wealth in, but all those things that can be taken away that are out of your control, unfortunately, one day you'll find yourself feeling extremely poor. It's not the person who has seemingly less on the outside who is poor. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's the person who has everything in excess who is really poor on the inside. And so hopefully that's not you. But it is, if it is, don't feel ashamed, don't feel anything, because we also have to walk that out and check our hearts. So if this was a heart check for you, then we're glad we did our part. Well, guys, Is what, episode 1 after a year off?
Yes.
Back
Better than ever.
Bless you on your way. You already know what it is. It's Kingdom Culture
TV.
We are shifting culture by
advancing kingdom culture. Oh, it's too far. Now look at my belly.
Almost there. She's about to pop.